Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear student. In the last lecture, we discussed the atmospheric chemistry, atmospheric segment, and photochemical reactions of various atmospheric species. In today's lecture, I will talk about the ozone depletion. So, outline of today's lecture include introduction to ozone and its advantages, ozone formation in the stratosphere, which is also known as good ozone, and discuss about the ozone depletion. So, first of all, what is ozone? Ozone is a highly reactive blue-green color poisonous gas, which consists of three oxygen atoms found in both the stratosphere and the troposphere. The stratosphere ozone is known as good ozone because it's blocked most of the toxic solar radiation to reach to the troposphere, while the troposphere ozone is known as bad ozone because it causes many types of diseases in human, including headache, nausea, cancer, etc. So the stratospheric ozone is known as good ozone, while the tropospheric ozone is known as bad ozone. This ozone layer, which is present in the stratosphere, acts as a vital protective layer in the upper atmosphere against the UV radiation, but act as a toxic pollutant in the lower atmosphere. Therefore, in the lower atmosphere, in the troposphere, it is known as toxic ozone or bad ozone, while in the stratosphere, ozone is known as good ozone. This is the structure of ozone, which consists of three oxygen atoms. The bond length between the two oxygen atoms is approximately 1.27 angstrom, while the bond angle between the oxygen atom is approximately 116. And the color of this ozone gas is blue green color, as one can see in this image. The ozone consists of two resonating form, and one can see both the resonating form of the ozone in this structure. So, what is the advantages of ozone layer? First of all, it acts as a shielding harmful radiation. So it effectively filter out UVB and completely block UVC radiation. UVC radiation have a wavelength shorter and having very high energy, and UVB have also high energy radiation, which can cause different types of diseases in human, which can include the skin cancer, the eye irritation, and cellular damage. So if the UVB radiation and UVC radiation reaches to the troposphere, it can cause different types of disease in human being. So the ozone layer in the stratosphere act as a shield for harmful radiation. The second important thing is that the ozone layer sustain ecosystem, both ecosystem, terrestrial plant ecosystem and the marine life. The terrestrial plant include protection of plants from UV stress that inhibit photosynthesis. If there are ultraviolet radiation, UVC radiation, or UVB radiation fall on the leaves of the plants that inhibit the photosynthesis process. And you must know that photosynthesis is one of the most important processes in the plant which produce oxygen for respiration process, and it consumes carbon dioxide in the presence of sunlight, and water produce the glucose plus energy plus oxygen. So the photosynthesis is one of the most important process of the plants. And if the UVC and UVB radiation reach these plants, so the photosynthesis process will be stopped, and it can affect our environment and the whole ecosystem of the plant. It's also impairs growth and reduce crop yield, and specifically wheat, rice, and soybeans are affected by these UVC and UVB radiation. The second ecosystem is marine life, and marine life um, is safeguard phytoplankton, the formation. the foundation of the marine food web, which are highly sensitive to UV radiation, specifically UVB and UVC radiation. So, if UVB and UVC radiation fall on oceans, it can stop the food chain and it affects the marine ecosystem. The third advantage of ozone layer is the climate and environmental stability. Because of this ozone layer, as it stops the harmful solar radiation, so helping to maintain the thermal structure of the stratosphere and stabilize atmospheric circulation pattern like jet stream. The second important application and advantage is that the carbon sequestration is also controlled by the ozone. By protecting vegetation from UV damage, the ozone layer ensures that forest and ocean can continue to absorb and store carbon dioxide effectively. The so it have the ozone layer have many advantages. It control the environmental stability, climate, and terrestrial and other marine ecosystem. So as the ozone layer have variety of advantages, so it's very necessary that the ozone layer must be of ozone layer depletion must be protected. Uh, how the stratosphere ozone layer form. So the ozone layer can be formed. Ozone is formed in the stratosphere when oxygen molecules photodissociate after absorbing an ultraviolet photons whose wavelength is shorter than 240 nanometer. The oxygen molecule photodissociate at 240 nanometer. When the wavelength is less than 240 nanometer, the oxygen molecule produce two oxygen radical, and that oxygen radical combined with the oxygen molecule in the presence of other species which is present in the stratosphere, and it produce the ozone molecule. So in stratosphere, this reaction continue to form. It absorbs the wavelength which have a wavelength less than 240 nanometer, a very high high energy radiation. The oxygen molecule photodissociate to produce the oxygen radical, and the oxygen radical combined with the oxygen molecule to produce the ozone molecule. The ozone formed is photodissociate at 325 nanometer and produce atomic and molecular oxygen. So this process continue and which terminate when an oxygen atom recombine with an ozone molecule to make two oxygen molecule. So tons of ozone is forming in the stratosphere by the dissociation of oxygen molecule and then combining the oxygen molecule with the atomic oxygen and the ozone. This process continue to form the ozone layer. Stratospheric ozone formation, a total about 350,000 metric tons of ozone is formed and destroyed daily. So one can see over here that the ozone layer can block the UVC radiation and UVB radiation, which is very dangerous if it's reached to the troposphere. So this layer is a protective layer to block the UVC and UVB radiation, and the ozone is formed in this layer by the absorption of UV radiation to produce the atomic oxygen or the oxygen radical, which combine with oxygen molecule to produce the ozone layer, and a total of about 350,000 metric tons of ozone is formed and destroyed daily. Stratospheric ozone serve as a shield to absorb harmful ultraviolet radiation in the stratosphere, protecting living beings on the earth from the effect of excessive amount of toxic radiation. Now, what is ozone depletion? Ozone depletion is defined as a decrease of about 4% per decade in the total volume of ozone. It means that in 10 years, 4% of the ozone is decreased, then it is known as ozone depletion in the Earth ozone layer in the stratosphere, and a much larger springtime decrease in stratospheric ozone over Earth polar region called ozone hole. So if 4% per decade the layer ozone concentration is decreases, then it is known as ozone depletion. One can see over here the ozone depleted portion, and here in the image it is shown that the CFCs, hydrogen CFCs, and volatile organic compound can cause the ozone depletion. And due to this, various types of chemicals, in every 10 years, there is 4% decrease in the ozone stratosphere ozone layer, and this is known as ozone depletion. Decrease in ozone concentration is measured by an instrument called total ozone mapping spectrometer. Shortly, we can call it TOMS, total ozone mapping spectrometer. The first decrease in Antarctica total ozone were observed in the early 1980s over research station located on the Antarctic continent. The measurements were made with ground-based Robinson spectrophotometers. The observation showed that unusually low total ozone during the month of September, October, and November. Total ozone was lower in these months compared with previous observation made in early as 1957. So it's mean that the ozone was first depleted ozone was reported in 1980s. The early published report came from the Japanese Meteorological Agency and the British Antarctica Survey. The result became widely known to be word after these scientists from the British Antarctica Survey published their observation in the scientific journal Nature in 1985 and speculated that CFCs were the cause. The chlorofluorocarbon were the main cause of ozone depletion. Soon after, satellite measurement confirmed the spring ozone depletion and further showed that in each late winter, early spring season, starting in the early 1980s, the depletion extended over a large region centered near the South Pole. So, in today's lecture, we discuss about the ozone layer. That ozone layer have variety of advantages, and if it is depleted, it can cause many types of human disease, and it can affect the terrestrial and the marine ecosystem, and it can also cause climate change. And then we discuss that what is ozone depletion and when it is reported, and the main cause which was observed in 1985 was the CFCs. So in next class, we will discuss the different types of causes of ozone depletion in detail. Thank you.